Hey all, just as always looking for a replacement to the Casio F91W, my daily driver, almost greatest watch on the universe. Had a couple of new products go on sale on Amazon and really wanted to pick them up to complete or add to the collection. Both very similar to the F91W, so nothing here is going to be groundbreakingly new, but I think really interesting from a horological standpoint. Let's see. Those new products are these two, the F94W and the F84W. Both of these from Japan, in the Japanese box. These are the two styles of box that I'm most used to getting Casios from my collection. The slide-in or this. These two were really cool, coming from Japan, and I guess how they'd be produced at how they'd be retailed in Japan, but both are on sale. So I'll take them kind of in the order of when they were released. So let's start with the F84W. This, I believe, is the oldest product that Casio still makes. It was launched in 1986 as a replacement. So 1986, 37 years ago, which is so cool that there's a close to 40-year-old piece of technology that is still made and retailed. So 37 years ago, this is the replacement to the F87W, which was that product at the time. So let's open this up, the F84. Let's see, it's actually technically the F84W 1QJH. The JH, the one is the black, the JH is for Japanese domestic marketing. Man, do I love the simplicity of Japanese packaging. And this is the first element that shines on this is just how small it looks. And I think a lot of that comes from the size of the size of that strap. It really tapers to a couple of millimeters less than the F91W. So even though it's the same physical form factor in terms of the watch face, and module number, both of these share the 593 module. The 593, the F87, the one that predates this, was the 595 module, and I really went down a rabbit hole trying to figure out what the difference between the 595 and the 593 module is. Again, 1986, first with the 593 module that Casio released. The 599, the F87W looked very, very similar to this. It was made in Japan. It had a red line on it, but other than that, it looks so similar to this one. I think this looks so cool in a very classic 1987 Japan way. It is just it's awesome. It's awesome in that way. It is, like I said, the strap just tapers off so thin, so it is hard to it makes the F91W look manly in comparison. But I do love it in terms of the historical value of this, and the fact that it's still made is so cool. So that is the F84W. This has the identical module as the F91W. So it's got the same set of functions that we all know and love. It's got the time, alarm, stopwatch, and set, and that's it. No great functionality to this. This is moving on to the F94W. This is the quote newer model. The records that I found say that it was 1990, released in 1993 for this module. So this one has the exact same band as does the as does the F91 and the F105 product. So that same band. So there's very little difference between the F91 and this product. And this one, it's got a gray face. There are actually two colorways of this. There is the F94W 9JH, which is this, the bumblebee looking one. And there's the F94W 8JH, which is more gray in appearance and monotone. I like this one better, even though this was the one that was on sale. It's the most different from the F91W. This one does use a different module. This is the 1071 module. Obviously, this is the W84 that uses the 593 module. Both of these are made in Thailand. But the reason that this one is uses a different module, I have to assume that the internals are identical to it, but it's wired. The display is wired up in a slightly different way, so that the functionality of 24-hour split time, signal, alarm, and AM/PM is directly on there. So as if you wanted to add signal, alarm, and off, it goes there. The fact that it is 24 hours AM or versus AM/PM goes there. So there's a bit of a functionality difference therein. I slightly prefer, and from a functionality standpoint, the words signal and alarm that you can see on the F91W when we're moving into those settings. The signal and alarm are indicated by signal is indicated by a bell, alarm is indicated by a series of lines, and off. If you're not using this day in and day out, you might not know which one is the signal and which one's the alarm. The fact that it spells it out with words on this one is a slight winner in terms of that functionality. I like the spacing of the day and the further away from the date on this one. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. And overall, this one looks more colorful, yes, but it's also a little too colorful, a little sporty. This one is more classic, and people would recognize this as the on the street versus this. I think they sell a lot of these in Asia, to the Philippines, in Indonesia, India, because both of these certainly aren't sold here. This is Japan only, though the packaging that we see here is the Japanese domestic market packaging. I'll just throw it in again in terms of splits, in terms of split timing, that nobody in the world uses split timing on the F91W. It just adds functionality that it doesn't need to, and it confuses the operation. The W214 that I spoke to about previously didn't even use that. It doesn't even have it on there, which I think is an overall benefit. So that is the F94WA. I'm interested to do a signal test. So you probably all know that on the the 593 module, you press all the buttons together and you get the screen check on that. And if you hold this button down for 3 seconds, you get the Casio logo to show authenticity. Though some products don't do that. On this one, let's see if the module, the display check works. Looks like it does. And what does the Casio look like? It also says Casio. So that is this. Let me just make sure that's a little bit. This one, that one went on. And what happens if I guess if you turn it on, you hold it, it'll stay on as long as you keep pressing that button and off. And this one, probably the same thing. stays on until you go, let go, and go. It's funny that the O on the Casio is even smaller because the seconds are even smaller on this one. This one, the seconds number are even bigger. So that is funny, and that's I guess another reason that the display here is squished on that. Oh, come on. Casio and Cassie Tiny O. So that's that's those two watches. In terms of my overall, feelings on both of these watches, let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me just do the light test as well. Green light on this, green light on this. So these are the lights are identical. I think that under the surface, besides just the slightly different wiring, that 1071 module is the 593 module. It's just got to be. So my conclusions on these watches are that really nobody needs these as a first watch. Certainly not in the United States. They're obviously much more difficult to find than the F91W. The F91W is easier to replace. It, I think, subjectively is a one-off watch. If you were going to wear that every day, that's the one to get. It looks more, like I said, both of these, I think the F91 looks manlier for being a smaller watch. This one is just practically delicate looking, but I really love it for that. But if you're looking to increase your collection, these are nice. I'm certainly loving the fact that I get to kind of throw both of these in the rotation. But I don't think that daily, just because of how large they are, of how easy to replace the F91W is, that's the one that's going to be that I'm going to wear the most. Both these, I do have to mention that I was doing sheathing on a barn next to me all weekend long, and like the fact that this is with this watch and the fact that it is so small and so close to the wrist, like it just doesn't need the screen protection. There's some scratches on there from 2 years of use, but like I was really digging in OSB all weekend long, and like it never bumped up into anything because it's so flush with the skin. These are going to be identical. This one I'm sure uses the same case as the maybe maybe it is a slightly different case on the 94, being a slightly gray color versus the F91W let me think here. That's a new F91. No, I take that back. It's the same color. It's the same color case. The F84 obviously doesn't have the shielded lugs, which adds maybe to that adds a little bit more of to the delicate nature of it. Either way, it's very cool. So yeah. Wonderful, happy to add them to the collection. Wouldn't be my first choice as a if I wasn't already a nut after the F91W. Mostly, I love these because they represent a horological continuation. Again, from 1986 for this one and to 1993 on that one. What other piece of technology just continues on like that, unchanged? Why does Casio even sell these products? If you're in Japan, right? Both of these boxes are next to each other. They're both on the store shelf. They're both 2,200 yen, $15. Why would you choose, yes, the 12 people that are watching this video, we love the small nuanced differences between these three watches, but like to the majority of the population, does anybody care how like the slight differences between these? It just, this navel gazing from a marketing perspective. Why do they still exist? And I guess shout out to Casio for that continuity, especially on this one. It's almost 40 years old on that watch. Same module, no updates, just amazing. But if you're on the store shelf, why would you choose one or the other? Why do you need to slot 3 on the store shelf? The supply chain to have these produced, it almost just doesn't make sense. Wouldn't this have totally cannibalized these two, or at least be a replacement? Like if you're not that I suggest Casio take this off, but if you are in the market for a small watch that is indestructible and perfect, or seemingly perfect, like the F91W, if these two were on the market, you would just get the F91W, right? Why do these other two exist as a marketed product in 2023? I don't know, but I'll call myself a weirdo who likes this stuff. I love the fact that they still exist, but how many people really care? It just boggles my mind from a marketing standpoint. They shouldn't exist, but they do, and that's why I love them for it. Glad to add them to my collection. I'm really looking forward to wearing the F94 because it is so delicate looking. You know what? As you put it on, it makes a kind of crunchy sound as these little ridges run up against the material here. That's so cool. Yeah, happy to add this to my to the collection. It is so small looking. It is like I said, makes the F91 look masculine, and it comes down to how thin that wrist that strap is, and it's not changeable with another one because it is this is shielded and this is not. Maybe you can make that replacement. You can take that shielded versus non-shielded and stick it out there. I keep mine stock, so I'm not going to change anything on this, but it is very interesting. Very interesting. The strap. When you put this on, it does make a noise when you get it on there. That's so cool. Yeah, that says, the buckle says China. This buckle says China. I will say that the flashing or the mold quality on this one is worse than this one. That says Casio. This doesn't say Casio on the buckle. Any other main differences? Both of these are, this one's the F84 says Y, made in Thailand, and this one says ED, presumably because of the markets it's released in. There's a little bit of writing on this side, but the fit and finish might be a tiny bit better, but they're effectively identical watches. Just looking forward to keeping these in the collection. I've blabbered on for far too long about such minor differences between inexpensive watches, but I do love that. I'm happy to add these to the collection. As always, the F91 still is the go-to daily driver, but happy to pad the collection. All right, hope all is well. Thanks. Bye-bye.